Natural Resource Governance. Sareen Siddarth, University of Copenhagen.
Good afternoon. I'm a development researcher and I work with natural resource governance in conflict zones, which means over the last couple of years I spent a quarter of my time in forests without access to water, electricity, roads, much like billions of people around the world, and in India alone more than the entire German population. But when I'm not writing research papers, I like to try and tell these stories in other ways, and here we go. How do you govern a natural resource? You could give it to the poor, I suppose, but the rich are better at asking for it. Environmentalists want to save the forest. Miners want to dig it up with their cranes. Activists have human rights on their brains. This is not happening in one or two places, but all over the world, across human races. Governments are not good at governing, and our fossil fuel future is already burning. Those who deep in the forest dwell know that we're doing very far from well. They need the trees. Companies want iron. Erosion and climate change make the land barren. But even tribesmen within the same village cut down the wood to let outsiders pillage. And governments sitting in faraway cities give mining companies permits without pity. This isn't possible in a world that is fair, where everyone gets an equitable share. This place is home to indigenous peoples. Stones are our graves, trees are our steeples. Democratic decentralization, they say, could very well be the sustainable way. We'll organize in local communities, make laws that give nobody immunity. If mining makes sense, we'll ask them to mine. But our livelihoods must be defined. Share power and resources, but not under the table. We'll make institutions downwardly accountable. Development is about equity and inclusion. Growth by itself is a feel-good illusion. Deliberation does have some growing pains, but local governance means efficiency gains. In the long run, we're all dead, as Keynes famously said, but let's focus on running together instead. Discussion is good, so let's listen and talk, draw lines along which we can actually walk, work with nature in ways local people know. That way there's room for all of us to grow. Those who are affected should also decide, and by such laws we must always abide. This not only strengthens the local state, but makes governments and countries great. And what I found in the work I've done so far is that if one does work with local democratic governance in ways that increase the equity in access to natural resources, this also simultaneously strengthens the state and builds it up at the local level within communities. Thank you. I'm happy to take questions. If you don't, yeah, well. I worked in Central Eastern India in a state called Jharkhand that was created in 2000 and has had 12 changes of government. It also has Maoist insurgent groups and a lot of mining companies, Asia's largest iron ore deposit. But what I want to emphasize is that this is not a singularity. This is, in fact, the rule across the world, and we have a lot to learn from different places where the same stakes apply.
Good. Time's over. Thank you very much.